We know that it is important not only to use these technologies to reduce industrial emissions, but also at the same time to increase the protection of forests and to provide the partnership, collaboration, and assistance to the forested nations of the developing world, particularly in preserving forests and recognizing the importance to the global economy and to the solutions for the climate crisis that preservation of forests can bring about. I also would like to mention the fact that soils should receive more attention, because the topsoils of the earth contain 3 to 4 times as much carbon as all of the forests and the vegetation put together. And in areas like sub-Saharan Africa, we are seeing a soil carbon crisis that is affecting agricultural productivity and threatening to worsen the food insecurity crisis. By focusing more attention on the accumulation of carbon in soils, we can simultaneously remove more from the atmosphere and make these soils more productive for subsistence agriculture. We also need to pay more attention to the other solutions to the climate crisis, for example, in information technologies. But in closing, let me say that business benefits from the focus on solving the climate crisis that you all are talking about in this conference. I mentioned twice the increased efficiency and cost savings that can boost profits, but many of you have already found that as you try to recruit the best and brightest new young people out of universities or technical schools to come and join your businesses, young people increasingly want to work for businesses that have a commitment to doing the right thing for the environment. It is important to them to be a part of an organization that is not only profitable, but also has strong values. You have also no doubt found out that there is an increasing demand on the part of customers who want to do business with organizations that have these values and are part of the solution instead of being part of the problem. All of your stakeholders, in fact, are increasingly asking businesses to be a part of the solution instead of being a part of the problem. So I applaud you for what you're doing. And before I close and go to your questions, I simply want to make one final point. We can talk about this issue in terms of the business benefits, the national security benefits, the benefits of various kinds. But it is also important to remember that it is also a moral issue. All of us in the present generation, in every nation, have benefited from the hard work and sacrifices made by previous generations. It would be immoral for us to take advantage of all of their sacrifices and then give the back of our hand to future generations. The next generations will, at some point, not too many years from now, survey the circumstances in which they live their lives and look back at us in our time and ask one of two questions. If they see the Arctic ice cap gone, chaotic weather patterns, hundreds of millions of climate refugees, devastated environments, and diminished prospects for them, they would be justified in looking back at us and asking us, what were we thinking? Why didn't we act? But if they look at the world they will live in and see an economy in renewal with many millions of new jobs and a common sense of purpose and a feeling of hope that the prospects for them and their children will improve decade by decade, I would love for them to look back at us in our time and ask of us, how did you find the moral courage to rise and solve a crisis that so many said was impossible to address? And ladies and gentlemen, if we could answer that question, if we have the privilege of answering it positively, I know that one part of the answer will be that in April, during the time of Earth Day in 2010, business leaders from all over the world gathered in the Republic of Korea to reaffirm and renew their commitment to making sure that business is for the environment. We have everything we need to give that positive answer, with the possible exception of political will, but this gathering demonstrates that political will is a renewable resource. Thank you very much, and thank you for having me.